Okay. Yay, we're recording. Okay, awesome. So you got a little goodie bag that had a bunch of like embellishments and stuff. I just, there's a couple of new like ribbons from the holiday catalog and some new shiny fun things that I thought I would include in here. We don't end up using all of them. But the ribbons I definitely wanted you to get like some experience with, because there's a couple of kind of funky ribbons that twine in particular is intriguing to play with. The punch is it's an interesting punch, and I don't know, Carol, if you got it, but
I did. I haven't
okay.
used it, but I got it.
Yeah, so it has a tiny learning curve on it. So I figured we would review said learning curve before we got started. I'm gonna get a little scrap of paper out. So I did not know, they don't come with instructions, right? So you're always kind of learning on your own, right? So the one that's the slot for the ribbon, that one's pretty easy. We're gonna have a piece and we're gonna line it up, and you're just gonna try to line it up in the middle as best you can. There is that middle marker on the side, so hopefully that's easy when we get to that.
Okay.
This punch, the corner ender, so it's not a corner rounder, it's a corner lopper. I don't know what to call it. But it basically cuts the corner off. You'll just want to make sure when you put your piece of paper in there that you put it in, nice and firm against both the left and the right, and then it'll just, cut that corner. And then the other punch actually is directional, which is intriguing. So if you put your piece in and then you do what I did, which was I rotated it, and you put your piece in, it looks kind of ugly. Like you end up with like a round here and a scoop here and a scoop here and a round here. So what I found is if you've punched it, if you're going to do the next corner, don't rotate your paper. You're going to flip your paper.
Got it. Okay.
So when you flip it, then you'll get that kind of matching look, right? Yeah. So that was just a learning curve. I was like, oh, well, great. We're pitching that piece of paper and starting over. So it's just interesting because I'm used to rotating my paper when I use one of these corner punches, these trio punches, and it's a flip, not a rotate. So and then you will acquire quite a bit of paper underneath your punch. So every once in a while, lift it up and pick up the scraps. So, because mine got a little harder to push down the more I was, punching stuff. So, okay. So other than that, I think the stamps, so what I found out was that there's actually kind of inside and outside stamps in here. Now we're going to use quite a few of them on the outside, but they actually are paired up, and the way you can pair them up is by the font. So, may your days be happy, sending you smiles. Like there's a couple that you can see like the fonts kind of match. And so I was able to go, oh, okay, this is an outside and this is an inside. Or, these guys, the font kind of match. These two, the font match. The grateful and the you make life happier match. And then I feel like the Christmas ones are a little more independent, like they don't have any matching fonts between them. So I think the 3 Christmas ones are kind of independent, but the happy birthday, sending you smiles, endlessly grateful, you make life happier. And then love you, mean it, you're the best, love you, miss you, these two. So anyways, at first glance, I don't think I understood how the stamp set functions. So I will also say that a couple of these fonts are really, really faint. So you'll want to make sure that your ink pad is nice and inked on that one, because they're light to begin with. The love you, mean it, the you're the best, and the love you, miss you, they do stamp really well. They're nice, thick fonts. So, which is really nice. So, oh, is someone asking? Oh, is this someone that was supposed to be coming? Let's see. I was like, let's see. So, yeah, so this stamp set, I mean, I've already mounted and stickered mine, just because I think that it was a little bit easier. I was making a lot of messes when I was making this class. It was definitely a more challenging set to use when a lot of the papers in the catalog are Christmas catalog. It's Christmas papers. And I was like, oh, we only have like 3 Christmas-y stamps. So you'll see quite a few like kind of all occasion, but I think it's a good all occasion stamp set. So, okay, so we'll tackle, there's a few I really love and there's a few I don't. And I think that it's always going to be that way. And so I think that I don't know. I'm always, like we can't always be inspired by everything. So, okay. So let me see this person. Uh-oh. Let's see. They believe. All right, let me have her. I'm going to Venmo. All right, let me copy this link. Okay, let's see. We might have somebody else join us.
Okay.
So this is I tried to keep them in order of the packet, but if you've like taken them apart and like done a bunch of other stuff, then who knows where they are in your order now. So this is just a fun little birthday card with the Celebrate Everything paper. This is that extra paper that you guys got, and it is the Hostess Pack. So this is a fun pack of paper. And this card, I loved the rainbow. I thought it was really fun. And then I included a granny apple green and a shaded spruce piece. And then for this one, I used the ribbon. This is the gold ribbon from the holiday catalog. And it's, I put kind of a longer piece in the packet so that you could take a piece, wrap it, and then take this second piece and tie a little knot. And then the old trick, right? Of like, it's a pretend, it looks like you wrapped it all the way around, but I did do it underneath just the rainbow paper.
Yes.
And this, I did glue dot this down. It was driving me nuts. It kept like rolling. And so I just put a little glue dot under there. So, because it was frustrating me. This ribbon's really pretty, but it seems really formal. And so I thought it would be fun to try it with like a really fun card and see, if we could have make it more fun. So, hey, Lynn, nice to see you. Sorry we had crossed wires, but we're recording. We have a few people who couldn't come tonight. But I have an extra packet of paper because my numbers were uneven. So we'll work it out. I'll message you later.
Okay. I did Venmo you on June 27th.
Oh, good. Okay. Last month. That was like 5,000 years ago. Good.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. And that was like probably Girl Scout camping week. So if anything came in that week, I was hot and delirious. So, I'll take a look at that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to, I'll get it to you. I literally had like an extra pack because I was uneven this time. And so I was like, I don't know, like, I was like, what do I do with this extra pack? But see,
That might be why.
you solved my problem. I was like, hey, well, when you divide a pack of paper in 4, you really should have 4 people participating. And some people won't fill their shares if they don't have 4. And I'm like, but I can use the paper later. Like, that's no big deal, So, so happy birthday. This is just an easy peasy note card. So, but I thought it was very cheerful. So Lynn, I was going over, and you can watch the recording later if you want, just that there's inside and outside sentiments on this stamp set. So it's an interesting one. And the punch is interesting because normally on a corner punch, you would just rotate your pieces to punch them. But in order to get them to line up, you actually have to punch it and then flip it, which is really interesting. Because if not, you're going to get this weird, like some go this way and some go this way. So it's a punch that requires a scrap piece of paper in order to play a little bit. So, but once and I learned my lesson, right? So, and I've got my ruler on standby just in case I messed up any measurements. You guys are always good at catching if I've messed anything up. So it never fails. I always mess up at least one measurement, right? So, okay, Carol, what do you think? Easy card, done, no problem.
Well, so can you show me how you attach the ribbon underneath?
Yeah.
Did you glue it underneath, or what did you?
Yeah, so what I do is, let me see. So what I do, this is kind of an old trick. So let's see. Get my little scissors. I'm like, try not to. Okay, so I get my seal plus, whatever. Well, no, apparently not that. All right. I get my something. So I use, I'll use seal or seal plus. Seal plus will really hold it down. And then I'll just kind of take that piece that I've trimmed to be just a little bit longer.
Okay.
And I will tuck it under on the top. And then I'll kind of like, I usually pull it relatively tight, and then tuck it under on the bottom. And then I've got a whole lot of other, glue on the back here too. So then once I've got that down, then I'll glue it to my card front. And then I'll take this spare piece of ribbon and I'll tie a knot. So it's an old trick to like save some ribbon. It usually saves a little on like bulk as well. Like it like kind of decreases the bulkiness. This ribbon's pretty thin, so it's not as big of a deal. And then if it's annoying to you that it like pulls up a little bit on the corners, you can always get a glue dot and stick it underneath. So like sometimes I'll glue dot. So sometimes I'll glue dot this corner. And it's only because we're doing it on the edge of the piece that this is happening. But if we were kind of doing this in the middle of a piece, then this corner thing wouldn't happen. But that's really not where I want you to go, my friend. Yep. All right. Me and this glue dot, we're having a moment. All right. No. This morning I taught a class at the senior center and I needed just a normal glue dot, and all we had were the glue dots for Paper Pumpkin. And I will tell you that those glue dots are so frustrating. I just about lost it. I was like, I think I wasted like 7 of them before I could get one to do what I wanted it to do. It's like, okay, I will make this work.
So what color ink did you use for the sentiment?
I just used black because I felt like there was a lot going on here. And there is black on the paper. And so I thought, maybe we'll just go with black. So I just use my Memento. That was what I realized this afternoon that I didn't email you. It was like what ink colors I used. I didn't use too many. And a few of them are interchangeable. Like if you have shaded spruce instead of evening evergreen or something, so. And then I did put a little glue dot under that little knot just because I think it was driving me crazy. So. And then the green piece, the shaded spruce is flat and the happy birthday is up on dimensionals. So.
Thank you.
Yeah, so it gives it a little bit of pop. I don't think you need both. This isn't a very bulky ribbon, so you can like glue right over it. Sometimes when the ribbon's bulky, you can't do that, but it's a real thin ribbon, so it's pretty. All right, good. Marianne is on her trip to San Diego for Girl Scouts.
Cool.
Her hard-earned cookie trip, and she seems to be having a great time. So it's kind of different to go on a trip with people you don't know, so she's definitely enjoying that. So the next card is actually a case. So I always like to, give credit where credit is due. So it's a case and simplify from someone on our team, Elena. She did a card for our swap that it had like 4 more layers on it or something, but she also had used like a different die and I switched up all the colors. So this card definitely features the punch. And Carol, I wasn't sure if you had gotten the punch or not. So I had gone ahead and
I didn't.
Okay. So I had pre-punched some pieces.
Oh, wait, you need this punch.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. I thought it was a different. Okay, never mind.
Yeah, and I wasn't sure if you had or not. So I went ahead and pre-punched yours. But if people ordered the punch through me, I didn't pre-punch it for them. FYI. So, and then Lynn, I don't know, do you have this punch? Did you order this punch?
I did not.
Okay. So I'll probably, I'll punch yours for you then. So then, it'll be easy for you to make the cards. So.
Okay. And just as a side note.
Yeah.
I was blaming the post office that my pack wasn't here. I was
gosh. Poor post office.
Yeah, poor post office. Carry on.
They never do anything right. So there's this paper is interesting because it has papers that are both the red and the green. And so this is the Lights Aglow paper. And there's quite a bit of paper in here, but what I wanted to show you was it has both the Evening Evergreen and it has Soft Succulent and it has vanilla and it also has white, which is a really interesting combination. But what I like is that these pieces, and they have them both in the green and in the red, there's ones that have circles and there's ones that have squares. And so we have die pieces that fit perfectly in here. So this circle is a 2 1/4 inch circle, or a few people got the square, and the square is just this little stitch square, and it's a 2 inch. It's right under a 2 inch. It's a 1 in 15/16, which is really ridiculous. So we're going to go with a 2-inch square. So, the corners again, right? We're just going to put it in the corner. I always like to kind of make sure I'm nice and tight in the corner. Push it down, and then we'll flip it over, push it down, and then we'll go the next corner and we'll flip it over. And then sometimes when you hold it up, you might hold it up on the wrong side. So you kind of have to make sure that you've got the right corners for what you're doing. And then the sentiment is this with a little more sparkle and a little less stress. Let's make this Christmas the very best. I stamped this in Evening Evergreen. And then I used my blender pen just to color, quote unquote, color in those leaves. They're not actually colored in, right? I just take it, and this one's really dry now, but I just take it and kind of pull it from the edges, so I'm not actually bringing any extra color. And then I just added a couple of the really pretty pearls. The festive pearls are really, really pretty, and they're in soft succulent, real red, silver, and gold. And you've got those in your packet as well. And those are really pretty. So there's 2 berries under here. So I covered the 2 berries with 1 pearl, and it worked out. So but yeah, this is a really pretty card. So it's two rounds, 2 flats. So I've got 2. Did I mess this up somehow? I think I messed up this piece. Darn it. How did I do that? All right. Uh-oh. Somehow I messed that piece up. These corners, they're definitely tricky. I appreciate a good challenge, but I wasn't quite expecting the challenge I got with this punch. So what's nice about the DSP is it cuts really easily 3x3. But and then this piece is just 3 1/4. All right, so there. I need to flip it. Maybe you have to flip it every single time. Yeah, you do. All flips, no rotates. All flips, no rotates. Yep, that's a really wild punch. Never seen anything like it. And the sentiment is a little tight on the square, but it fits. And then it's tight on the circle too. But I wanted you to be able to see as much of the, sparkle on here as possible. So it looks a little odd if you use the next size up circle for square. So questions about that?
Nope.
Questions about how to not mess up your that stinks. I will save that one for a rainy day. So good. Okay. So, every year our upline Candy, she always does a purple Christmas card. And so that really pretty snowflake paper, the foils. So there's the shiny, and then there's also the furry one. Furry, fuzzy, I don't know. It's the exact same sheets, and there's a set of foil, and then there's a set that has like the flocking on it or whatever. The foil is quite bedazzling. So I used Fresh Freesia and Orchid Oasis, and then you can use whatever ink you want. I ended up using Gorgeous Grape, and the reason I use Gorgeous Grape, which it's a darker purple than what we used on the project, but this font in here it's a little light and it's a little hard to see. And so I felt like you needed like the darker purple. I don't know that I would go like Blackberry Bliss dark. You could. I wouldn't use Rich Raspberry. It won't look good with these two colors, but Gorgeous Grape looks pretty good with it. So on this one, you have a smaller piece. Oh yeah, here was me showing you how to not do this. So because this is how I learned. I was like, oh, that didn't do what I wanted it to do. Every corner's wild and different, unless you like that look, and then that's up to you. So with this one, we're going to use both the edges and the little hole for the ribbon. So rotate, 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 rotate. All right, there we go. And then we'll do our very best to line this up and center it on here, which is always kind of hard, but pretty good. Here we go. And then I'll kind of show you how I wrapped the ribbon through here, because this ribbon's a little wily. It's a funny ribbon. So this is the new In Color ribbon. And you're going to put both of your ends together and loop your ends through the hole, maybe. And then you're going to pull your ends through your loop. So you're going to kind of like, almost like you're wrapping it, right? So then once you've wrapped it, now you've got that, and now you can tie a bow. And so this is a fun way to add some ribbon, onto a project. And I think it looks cute when it's wrapped around the little, the hole. So, and then this ribbon does fray. I don't know that I would put a lighter to this one. It's very metallic-y and plasticky feeling. I think it would, I don't think I would just let this one fray is what I'm trying to say. There are other ribbons we have that I'm like, yeah, put a lighter to it. This is not, I think you would burn the house down if you did this. So, and then this is just layered on here. So what I did for this one, in order to not see the glue, you have a couple of choices, right? You could apply it with like a sponge. I just used the Tombow, and I just used it behind all the pieces that I just did little dots on all these little pieces. And then I just laid it down. And so that helped it so that you didn't see, so you can't see any of the glue marks under this. If you had used the seal or something, you would definitely see it under this. This paper is, it's gorgeous, but it would definitely show all your glue. So I just hid it behind all the pretty stuff.
And then how did you attach the tag to the...
I popped it up with dimensionals.
Okay.
For sure. Yeah. And you could arrange it differently. These pieces are small enough that, you know, if you want to orient it differently or do something else, and you could do this, you could kind of keep it more straight and kind of bring this one down here if you like kind of a more, you know, straight orientation versus a wacky orientation. I don't know. I was just playing and having fun. I really liked the big snowflakes. But you can arrange at will, right? Like, I don't know, if it goes this way, you could do that. I don't like it as much. I think I would either do, and I like this big snowflake, so I would probably keep that snowflake up there, and then I would probably do this here. They're definitely like, these big snowflakes are really cool looking. These are kind of funny. They look like flowers. They don't look like snowflakes to me, so I would hide that one a little bit more.
I did it vertical.
Yeah. Yeah, I like it. Yeah, I think, I mean, you know, either way, but yeah, I think I like the vertical too. I don't know why I was stuck this way earlier when I was like designing this one. I wonder if so I sketched these all out in my brand new planner, my Stampin' Up planner.
Cool.
I know, and I was super excited. And so I had all my sketches, and I'm trying to remember if I sketched this one vertical or not. No, I had it vertical, so
Okay.
I didn't have it horizontal. So that's interesting. Yes, can't you tell? This is like the work of a genius, right? You know, like, look, clearly that's a choo-choo train with a Santa in it, and there's the mushroom, and there's some candy canes. Yeah, I was like, if someone looks at this, they're gonna wonder like what I'm thinking. Oh, thank goodness I have a place to doodle, right? So okay, good. So gotta have that purple Christmas card, right? And then this card, oh, the Hello Harvest. I really, I like this paper a lot. Like, I'm really happy with it. And I think it turned out really nice. And I included a couple things in here that you might have missed from the catalog. So this is a set of craft leaves, and they come with some really pretty amber gems. You get 20 or 25 leaves in a set, and they're really substantial. I like them a lot. So I tucked one in your packet. They stamp really well. So the Endlessly Grateful fits perfectly on here and stamps well. And then this is a new ribbon, natural woven. I don't know. There's a natural finish and a natural woven. This one is the natural woven. Yes. To me, it looks like gauze, and it kind of feels like gauze too. And this one also frays. I'm okay with it fraying. It's cute, but if you're not, you know. And then this one, so I had you guys cut 6 of these panels because I ended up using one of them on the inside.
Ah,
So,
I was wondering where, okay, cool.
uh-huh.
Life happier. Okay.
Yeah, so and this is the matching. So this is kind of the inside and outside sentiments, endlessly grateful, and you make my life happier. So I put the endlessly grateful on the outside, and then I put the you make my life happier on the inside. Remember, stamp before you stick.
Yeah.
I stuck and then stamped, and it's slightly crooked and might be driving me crazy. But you can kind of cut these panels. There's a few pieces that I liked a little better. Like, I really wanted the piece with the butterfly on it. And so I kind of edited that piece down to get the butterfly. And then a few of these pieces with the gourds on them look a little funny. And so you want to kind of get the pieces you like, right? Like, understand. So you have this black piece, and I would recommend that you cut or that you glue, and you glue from the outside. So start on one end and then glue the other end, and then glue the next one, and then glue the next one, and then put the middle one in.
Okay.
And I would say that I probably went a little too far away on these two,
Okay.
which then made my middle one really tight. So you'll want to have just a really small line between them. This is probably the appropriate line spacing between your pieces, like the hairline spacing. I just didn't quite get that one just right, but still a cute card. And this is a case as well. So from my mother-in-law, I didn't case a ton of them, but there's a couple that I was like, oh, I'm casing that for sure. This paper is really pretty. I like it. I don't know. I feel like I always like our fall paper. Like whichever ones are fall, like when we have a cotton paper that was really pretty. I don't know. I really enjoyed it.
For the bow, did you just attach it with the glue dot?
I did. And there's a hole here. So I just attached it, right on there. And then I did pop it up on dimensionals. So the leaf is up on dimensionals, but nothing else is. You could put the whole panel up on dimensionals if you really wanted to.
Okay.
That's up to you. Depends on how extra you want to be.
Thanks.
Yeah, I like this one a lot, and I like the fall. These will be really nice for like teacher appreciation this fall. We're heading into, 8th grade, and man, these middle school teachers, they deserve a lot of thank you. Like I saw one of the 8th grade English teachers put up her like Amazon wish list, and I was like, yes, we will be buying things from there for you. Like what can we do to help you make your classroom better? Like, you want more sticky notes? You got it. She actually had a lot of really good books on her list. So it's always good for them to have extra, reading it in the classroom. And one of the books is a book that I've had since I was a kid. So I had to get it. It's called Number the Stars. And it's a World War II book. I love World War II fiction. And then I just read a new World War II fiction, Salt to the Sea, I think is what it's called. And it's a part of World War II history I didn't really know anything about, but it's about the ships that took like Prussians and Polish and German out on the Baltic Sea, and that whole like exodus on kind of the Eastern Front as Russia was coming. And I had never read any literature in that area. That was really good. It was super depressing, but really good. So I feel like my book's depressing. I don't know. Not everybody's that way, but yeah, this was a paper that I felt like I wanted to use every single piece. And this is a fun way. If you get a pack of paper and you're like, oh my God, I love it all, then I think this is a fun way to use them all. Yeah, and I've used a bunch of these craft leaf labels, and I still got a whole bunch of them. I did use all the amber gems, but I like these craft leaves. They're really fun. I think I'll buy another pack. I'm going to do like a kids class this fall. So I think the kids will like those. They'll think those are fun. Awesome. Are you ready to move to the next one?
I am.
She's ready. She's ready. All right. So this one's fun. It does require a circle punch or a circle die on everyone's part. Unless I did it for you. Did I do it for you? I did it for you.
You did.
I'm really nice. So Man, I tell you. So never mind. I decided that I was gonna have you guys punch it, and then I was like, never mind. So what you're gonna curl the edges up on this Gingham Cottage paper, and it's a cute look. And even if it goes through the mail and it gets a little, flattened, I think that's okay. I still think it's cute. I would recommend if you have something smaller than a pencil. So like I have this brush, it's like an old wooden paint brush. If you all you have is a pencil, then all you have is a pencil. But even a tighter pen, like some of those Sharpie pens or Bic Intensity pens would help. But you're just gonna take your piece and you're gonna kind of roll it, and then you're gonna roll the bottom right. And once you get a little bit of a roll, you could even use like a knitting needle. I was trying to think of like other things that you could use. And then you'll kind of roll this one. So the Gingham Cottage paper is really fun because it has a lot of different color patterns in it. So it has this really soft like mint macaron, but it's got like a Halloween color scheme. It's got Valentine's. It's got like a gray. It's got Christmas. Like I feel like it's a really useful paper, and I think that you can get a lot of like 4 seasons use out of it. So I really like this. Now, when you're stamping this, I would recommend that you find your stamp. There we go. I would recommend that you maybe not glue it down and you just kind of hold it and then stamp it. When you stamp it, you're going to want to stamp a little bit higher than middle because you're going to put all this accessoried stuff here. So you'll see that it's not in the middle. I went a little bit higher than middle. So, and I just did, huh?
What color ink?
Black.
Ah,
I use black in a lot of them. Again, this font is really hard to read in other colors. Like I felt like there was quite a few of these fonts that like you just needed black. Like, so it's a lot of black in this one. I went simple. There's a few I used other colors on, but I was thinking, I was like, I need to get another Memento ink pad. I was like, I want to, like, I use them a lot. And then on this one, we used this twine, which is almost virtually impossible to use otherwise. I do not like it, but I wanted to show you the one way I figured out how to use it. So we're going to layer our daisies together. And once we've done that, I'm just going to use a glue dot because it's the easiest way for me to do that. What would I do without glue dots? All right. And then once we've done that, what I did, it's like, all right, is I put some adhesive on the back. I would use a runner type adhesive and put some on the back, and it might seem a little messy, like you're gonna put quite a bit on the back. On the front side, you can always, if it's peeking through, you can always peel it back kind of once we're done, but you're gonna put quite a bit of adhesive on the back. And then you're gonna take your lovely thick twine and you're going to have one piece out, and then you're going to make a loop, and then you're going to make a loop, and then you're going to have another piece that goes out. And so you have to kind of adjust to make sure you've got enough to get where you want to be. And you can kind of look at it on the front and say, yeah, okay, that's cute, or no, that's too long. you know, and you'll just kind of adjust it, but it's basically like you're making a figure 8 on the back and you're using all that sticky to kind of hold it down. Now I'm going to use another adhesive to also hold this down. So once I've got this kind of in place, and that's why I used a lot of that glue, and you can't use Tombow for this, unfortunately, because I know you like Tombow, Lynn, but it's too wet and sticky to use. Then you're going to take your dimensionals and you're going to kind of put some dimensionals, and you could use minis here too. They would probably work. And this is going to help you kind of like glue it down a little bit more. So you're going to kind of wedge some dimensionals here. Not too close to the outside because we don't want to see them on the front, right? But you want them in a way that you're going to kind of like glue the whole thing down. And then that will help you to stick the whole thing down on the front. And then you can stick a little, one of the larger sequins. These are the seasonal sequins, and I have my set somewhere else. I think I used them. Oh yeah, I used them on the live the other night. So, so the seasonal sequins are Poppy Parade, a gold, kind of a white, and then shaded spruce, garden green. I don't remember which green it is, but I will tell you, it doesn't look like what it's supposed to look like. Like it's a really pretty green, but it's not the green that they say it is. But the gold, they're all really pretty. Let's see, what page are those on? Page 9. They say they're garden green. There's no way they're garden green, but they're really pretty. Garden green's kind of a muddy green. This is not, it's not muddy. It's like really pretty. So, all right. So now that you've got your unit set, and then on the inside, you have a piece for the inside. Again, stamp before you stick. I actually included this piece in your packet because I thought it would be kind of fun. You could try to stamp the happy birthday on here and glue this on the inside. And I thought that would be kind of cute. So if that's something you want to try, great. If not, do with it what you will. We were laughing because my mother-in-law has never been to San Diego, which I did not know. I'm not even sure how that's possible. And they had told us, they said, hey, you know, if your child gets COVID while they're here in San Diego, you have to come get them. Like, we're not going to be able to like send them back by themselves. And, you know, like it was a way for them to probably try to scare us, you know, into not getting COVID, which I mean, it's not like we want to get it, right? But anyway. My mother-in-law, she was like, I'll go, I'll get Marianne. She's like, if she gets COVID, because she's never been to San Diego. And I was like,
That's funny.
I know. I was like, that's funny. I was like, you have good ulterior motives. So, yeah, so she's been sharing some pictures, and my father-in-law served, they went to the USS Midway yesterday, and that's kind of the boat that he served on in the Navy. And so he was very excited that she got to see the boat that, you know, that the class of boat that he served on. And so he had lots of questions for her. And he was like, oh, did you see this, 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 and this? And her answer, yes. I was like, I think Grandpa was expecting more of a dialogue from you, you know? But anyway. Okay, any questions about our Gingham Cottage card? And I will just say that I don't really know of any other way to use this twine. It will be great for wrapping presents, maybe tying tags. You know, I think there's some 3D uses, but otherwise, other than having it really flat on a card, like there's no way you can tie a bow with it. It's just really thick stuff. So it's really pretty. It has that loop of silver thread in it, but yeah, it's a really solid twine. All right, this is my least favorite card. I'm just going to admit it right now. It's also my least favorite paper. I've never not liked a paper in a while. Never is a strong word. It's been a long time since I've not liked a paper. I'm going to use that language. So this is the black and white paper. And I don't know. Anyway, I didn't go black and white. So if you don't like this, you don't have to do it. You could leave it black and white. And that's definitely an option. So you could have the strips of paper on here and not color them. All that I did was just picked a pattern, pick some markers, and I actually did not use the blend markers. From what I've heard, this paper doesn't react well with blend markers. And the black ink will start to come off the paper. So I would encourage you to either use your Stampin' Up markers if you're going to color this, or you could use watercolor pencils too. But I would say don't use your blend markers because from everything I've heard, the black starts to bleed. And so, yeah, so I mean, it wasn't made to color on, right? It's not like a memento ink, right? Like I'm sure whatever they printed it in. And then I just stamped the love you, miss you, you're the best ever on the inside. I kept it really simple. I thought it was kind of cute. And I thought it was a little different, that it opened a little differently. And you know, it's just a little different. I used these are the sparkle gems that come with the gnome set, but they had kind of the same color scheme as some of the colors I use. So I put some of those little sparkle gems on there. But this card is not my favorite. This paper is not my favorite. I don't know. I struggled with this one. This was the last one I designed. I definitely was not inspired on this one. So, but I still think it's cute. It's a case from someone else, but hers was a little different. I don't think she did the funky opening. I think she had it was just a normal open on the front. And I thought, well, the opening will make it intriguing at least. You could line the inside with another color. I just liked the pop of pink on the middle of the card. So I didn't really want to change the inside. If you really wanted to put white on the inside, you could. And there's still space to write. Sometimes you don't have a lot to write, you know, so it's okay. A little less space to write's okay. But I will say that I stamped it in black. And these are those sentiments that do stamp really well. They show up really well. So I'm okay having them stamped on the Melon Mambo. So,
Okay.
yeah, questions?
No, I'm going to use some colored pencils.
Yeah, I think, and this is sort of like it took me a while to color it, right? Like I sat here for a while. I was like, and then I color. I was like, okay, it's okay. You know, the back side of this has more black and it has less to color. So you might want to do the back side instead of the front side. Like these are really fat lines. The back side has a thinner line. So that might be an option for sure. Again, not my favorite. It's okay. You win some, you lose some. I think I saved one of my favorites for the last, but I also know that my packing strategies on the paper, like, I don't know. There was a lot of paper everywhere. So, all right, the gnomes, they're super cute. I like that I can play with the gnomes and I don't have to buy the gnome set because there's large gnomes and there's the mushrooms and everything cuts out really easily. And you don't have to do a ton of extra work on this. What I did for this one, I wanted to show. So the gnomes, you get a lot of mushrooms out of, you know, half a sheet. You also have this is kind of the brighter of the papers. It's pretty intense. And then the back is the snowflake. So what I did is I cut it at 4 and then I just used the 1/4 inch of the bottom and that's what I flipped here. So to not waste a lot of paper. And so let me see, I've got my little, I don't know how my big cutter is, but I've got my little one here. So this this is a 4-inch wide piece. And now I can just take, and I can cut 3/4 off. And now I'm at 5 1/4 to fit my card just right. And then this is it's a narrow strip, but it does fit the sentiment.
I got it in there.
Yeah, just right. Good job, Carol.
Thank you.
It's tight. It's real
It
tight.
is.
It's tight. I know. But I wanted to have that sentiment on there. May you enjoy the warmth of the family this season. And then I used one of the little sparkle gems as the doorknob. So, and I just fussy cut the mushroom. It's probably the easiest thing on the planet to fussy cut. Compared to anything else. And then I put a couple of other little sparkle gems on here too, but I like having the little one as the doorknob. I thought that was cute. Marianne is absolutely in love with this paper and she thinks it is the cutest thing on the planet. So I have a feeling we'll have some gnome Christmas cards this year for sure.
Did you pop the mushroom up on dimensionals?
I popped the mushroom up on dimensionals for sure. I kept this one down flat though.
Okay.
Yeah, the sentiment's flat and this one's up. So I think I used 4 or 5. It's a pretty big mushroom. So and then the gnomes are really easy to cut out of the paper as well. So you'll have you know, you could go through and fussy cut some little gnomes out and make another kind of series of cards using the gnomes. And then you could always use, there's a couple of other, well, there's the really cute mushrooms. But then there's also and then there's the really cute animals too. But the backside of that's like little trees. And then there's like some little scenes in here. You could punch these out. I mean, there's a lot of really usable pieces. And I feel like this is a paper set that you don't really, like, I don't feel sad that I didn't buy the stamp set because I feel like I got a lot of usable gnome fun out of this must be the German Dutch heritage, right? Like crazy about gnomes. I don't know. I grew up with a lot of gnome books and stuff. So. And then, oh yeah, this one's really cool. So I put an extra picture in your packet for this one. The one thing I realized I forgot was I forgot the inside piece, and that hit me Tuesday maybe. So you'll want a piece of white for the inside that's 4 by 4. So just FYI, sorry. But I wanted to show you. So what I've always kind of wondered, oh, I did include a piece of white in yours. Huh.
You did.
Apparently. I did. Well, good for me. I just didn't put it in my original, but that's okay. Oh, look at me. I'm better than I thought I was. So this die has been one of the most perplexing dies from the Scallop Contour die set that we've ever had because of these weird little flaps. And I finally found a purpose for them. Because you can slip your candy canes through it. So I like the look of having it slip through and kind of be between the two pieces. I think it's a really cool look. And I feel vindicated, justified. I don't know, really excited that I found a use for a very, very strange die. But the candy canes that come in the paper are a little short. So in your diagram, you'll see I cut the candy canes in half. And so I've taped half up here and half here. And I have a good picture in the diagram. Lynn, I need to send you the diagram. I just realized that. So this is the library fold or book fold, right, where this piece is glued down. So this is sealed shut. Let me send this to you. There are days when too many tabs open. I shared my screen for work the other day, and I'm used to everybody at work having lots and lots of tabs open. And this one girl on the call, she's like, "Whoa, you have a lot of tabs open." I was like, "Me?" I was like, "No, there's no way I have a lot of tabs open compared to everybody else." It was pretty funny. I did not think that I was an over tabber. Paper party directions. Excellent. All right. I'm sending that over to you, Lynn.
Thank you.
Yeah. And you'll see there's a nice, there's a good diagram for this one and one of the other ones. It's kind of a little strange. So I did put some of those little green sequins, the garden green ones on here, just because this is it's a cute suite. And then this one does fit. I used garden green as my for this one, Carol.
I figured that out. I was like, oh, I had evening evergreen, and then I pulled the garden green out. So
Yeah, it's garden green. Yeah, I went garden green on this because it is the color of the paper in here. Although I will say their garden green is darker than my garden green. Like I don't know. It looks a little darker than my cardstock, and I don't know why. So, but yeah, I liked the garden green, and I was happy that the sentiment fit just so. This is a fun one. So you can get a lot of candy canes out of that paper. I've been making a lot of candy cane cards. I was going to show you guys a few more. So I did one where the candy cane was just kind of on the side. And so I just cut one out and kind of put him on the side of a frame. He's on one side of this frame and he's on this side. So, and then this is the card that I used the glimmer paper on. So you guys did get some glimmer paper in your pack. And I'm a sparing glimmer paper user. This is probably the most glimmer paper I've ever used on a project. But I did cut away at the middle of it. So I used a die. So there's no glimmer paper behind here. No glimmer paper was wasted in the making of this card. So just FYI. But I wanted to show you this one because it shows more of the candy canes and the paper. And the paper's cute. The stripes, you can actually stamp on the stripes, like you can see, pretty well on some of the stripe patterns. So that's a fun one. And this one, I sent you guys a link to the video that I made for this one. And Lynn, I'll make sure to get that to you as well. It was the catalog launch party that I did with a bunch of other demonstrators. So, but yeah, this one was fun. And there are candy canes in 2 different directions, which I did not know on the paper. So if you're wondering, if you cut your candy canes out and you wonder, some go one way and some go the other. And I'm using these for my Christmas card class this next month or this next week, just because I think it's and again, I got enough candy canes out of here that I feel like I don't have to buy the suite. I'm like, I'm good. I don't need the whole suite now. I've got plenty of candy canes and candy cane paper. And then I've learned, I used to use like Seal or Seal Plus behind here. I've learned to just use the green glue, the Tombow multi-purpose behind this panel because it won't open. Like sometimes when I use Seal or like Seal Plus or any of that, it'll open because after time, like the adhesive just kind of wears off. But this Tombow, like if you put a little bit of Tombow back behind there, it'll seal that bad boy shut for life. So it's a strong glue. It's a good one. And then I did pop up all of this with dimensionals. So Carol, if you're wondering, so the candy canes have dimensionals. Like I popped all of this up with dimensionals, but you don't have to if you don't want to, but many dimensionals were wasted in the popping up of this. All right, so let's see. How you doing on that one? Good? It's like, I'm working. Oh, you're muted, but it's okay.
I put the last little embellishment on. I'm done.
Nice, excellent, awesome. All right, next card, we're trucking along. So, so this is a really pretty Splendid Day paper, and I wanted to make a card that used the really nice piece. I have made a lot of cards with this paper. I've used it in my Facebook Lives. We've used a lot of this paper, but I had been saving these pieces because I wanted to just make a nice, easy card front. So a little fresh freesia. And I ended up just going ahead. I used the Stylish Shapes and I die cut 2 of these. So one you can stamp on, and then the other one you're going to cut in half, and you can use it to make the extra banner ends on this. So it's going to help you extend your banner. I know there's a lot of shine on here, so it's a little hard to see, but and I felt comfortable doing this because this is a really nice, I use black again. It's a good stamp. It's pretty bold. It will show up. If you're going to stamp on DSP, you have to have a pretty good stamp and ink. And then I used more of the seasonal sequins on here, and I used the white ones because they kind of like popped and showed up on the shiny, shiny paper. And then for this one, this is on dimensionals and this is on dimensionals. I think I went like dimensional crazy. So it's all, yeah, so I built it all up. So, but you can do whatever you want. Yeah, so the colors in this suite. So this is the first time that they've made a non-seasonal paper in the holiday catalog, in the July to December catalog. So I thought that was kind of cool, that this was like the first year that they endeavored to do that. And the colors are really pretty. It's petal pink, fresh freesia, soft seafoam, and pool party. And so just a really nice non-traditional paper for us to play with. And I like these scenery pieces for sure. And this one's easy. This is an easy card to put together. The next card, you might be not so happy with my fussy cutting. And then I have this extra piece of like the shiny, because I trimmed a piece of the top off. And so it's like this kind of champagne color. And I thought, well, you know, if I was really wanting to like you know, make the inside really pretty, I could put it on the inside. If I wanted to cut a white piece and put this on the inside, I could do that as well, right? But when you have a little extra piece of shine, you know, what are you going to do with it? So I'll grab one of my extra insides. So I was typing up fussy cutting on the instructions, and I wrote fuzzy cutting, like what Marianne used to say when she was little. And I was like, I just typed fuzzy cutting. I was like, huh, that's funny. And then I laughed because I saw another demonstrator and she called it fuzzy cutting. And I was like, oh, we're not the only ones. I was like, huh, I wonder if that's a thing. Yeah, it's really pretty. It looks nice on the inside. Nice card. I will say this paper shows folds and bends really easily. Like it's so shiny. Yeah, it's interesting. And so I
got something on it, so I put my heart at the top to kind of cover up some of the.
Yeah, I was over here the other day. I was like trying to like kind of like buff it, you know. I was like, maybe if I buff it, then I'll it'll turn out. But I found that it's very sensitive to like folds or creases. So yeah, it's an interesting paper. Yeah, we've never had anything quite like that. So okay. The fun guys. So these guys, they're so funny. So I did a note card for this. And what I did is I trimmed a little bit of the bottom of the note card off. So once you're going to have your scenery piece, you're going to put that on the front and then just trim off that bottom piece. So you could use a chopper or something, but I would glue it down first, make sure you get nice and tight, and then trim that off. Because we're going to use our really fun velvet white paper and we're going to put some snow on the inside. And so then the guys are riding on snow, which is kind of it's kind of a neat look. So and you could trim it with scissors. You could just trim it with your little chopper or your cutter. And you get several of these out of a sheet. So there's like a lot of these like scenery panels on a sheet, which is really nice. So this paper's fun. Where did my reindeer go? Oh, in here? Ah, he's in here. I think my my most favorite part of this paper is this reindeer, this very joyful reindeer who is laughing and singing and doing I don't know what in the back of the train. So I wanted to be sure to include him. So you're just going to fussy cut around the Santa and then fussy cut around the little trolley and then just put them next to each other. I did pop them up on dimensionals. There's like 2 dimensionals on him and like 4, I think, on him. And then that's when you'll have like the little, you'll be able to feel the snow down here. And then I just used a couple of gold sequins to kind of show the smoke from the train, Santa's little train here. So, this fuzzy cutting is less easy than the mushroom, but I mean, it's not incredibly difficult, but I think the card's really cute and it's worth it. So it's an adorable little card. Now on this one, I did not stamp on the inside or the outside. I know, wild. But you could stamp clearly, may you enjoy the warmth of family, may your days be happy. You could stamp, a little more sparkle, make this Christmas the best. I did feel like though the inside of the card is now kind of tiny, right? Because you can't write on the snow. So I was like, if I stamp that I don't even have room to like sign my name, you know? So I am not going to stamp anything on mine. I will just leave it as is. And if you have like a ho 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 or something you want to stamp on the front, you probably could, but I don't think that every card needs stamping. I'm okay with that. This one was just really cute all by itself. I do like how all the different Santas and gnomes have different skin colors. I appreciate that. So I hope you do as well. I think they're very cute. Who doesn't like a tactile card, right? We had that Santa paper a couple of years ago that had like little puffy pieces on it, and everybody loved that. I thought that was the bomb. So, all right, 2 left. We've done it. These are my favorite too. So hopefully, well, this is my 3rd favorites. These are my last 3 are my favorite for sure. Okay. So this would be my least favorite paper to start off with, but now I've come around. So I don't like poinsettias. Growing up, my mom never had poinsettias in the house for the holidays. We had no red in our house for the holidays. It was all silver and white and a little bit of gold, which was interesting. So I just never liked them. I didn't grow up, I don't know, they just weren't part of my Christmas, right? And so, but I do like that this paper has soft succulent, evening evergreen, old olive, and mossy meadow in it. It has 4 different greens, which is kind of wild. It also has 3 different reds. It has Poppy Parade, Real Red, and Cherry Poplar in it, which I don't know that we've ever had a paper with 4 greens and 3 reds. So you could pretty much match any of your paper with this. But I decided to use this Lopper offer piece, which I don't know what to call it. It's not a corner rounder. We're going to use this. So you have this card. When you open it, it's going to open and it's going to have these corners, right? So the card will still stand. But we've just cut all of our corners to do this. So we're going to do this with our DSP. We're going to do this with our white piece as well. So we're just going to stick it in and cut all of our corners. So now we've got our little
Flipping it backwards each time, right?
With this one, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
With the other one, it matters, but with this one, it doesn't matter. I don't know why, but so this one is a-okay to do rotate or flip. But now I'm nervous about this punch. I'm never going to remember to flip it. I know I'm going to ruin lots of paper this way. All right. And then we're going to take our whole card and we're going to stick the whole card in here. So you're going to fold it up and you're going to do one corner and you're going to do all 4 corners. When you get in here, especially the one with the crease, you're going to have to really jimmy it in to make sure that it's in there just where you want it. And it'll take a little extra force for sure. Okay. And then I need a piece of the DSP. Yeah, so I do really like this DSP now that I've gotten a chance to play with it a little bit. I think at first I wasn't sure what to do with it, and I really didn't know how to match it to anything. I was very confused about all the different greens and reds in it, and held it up to every single green and every single red in my office until I felt like I found the right combination. So it's a little more challenging to do this one. But I do appreciate that you can use almost anything with it. So this one will go on the outside. This one will go here. And then this, so is just fussy cut from the DSP. So the one thing I'll say is that I always make a Christmas card that isn't super Christmassy, which is for those who are celebrating Christmas, but they might not be celebrating Christmas, right? So maybe they've lost a loved one, or they're by themselves, or you are welcome to throw whatever Christmas sentiment you want on here, but I always like to explain why I do one of these each year. And I was really excited by the Festive Pearls because they have a soft succulent, and I felt like the soft succulent, like I did 5 of them in the middle here, and it picked up the soft succulent in the greenery. So I thought it was a really nice touch. This poinsettia is up on dimensionals. Everything else is glued down flat. So, and then I did stamp this in, I think I stamped it in Evening Evergreen. It might've been Mossy Meadow because it looks a little faded and my Mossy Meadow is not very good, but it's a really light stamp. So definitely, you know, you could stamp it in black and it would be okay too. So if you end up using this stamp. Questions about my crazy edged card? I think it looks really cool. I love it. I'm really happy with it. And I really did not know what to do with this punch. So I made it all work. Yes, and now this is my favorite paper. I don't know. Who knew? Who knew I'd like that paper? And there's a single poinsettia, and then there's like a double poinsettia, and you could use either one. I've just never seen this many greens put into one paper before. So, or reds, honestly. They really mixed and matched. So kind of wild. Okay, last card. Here we go. We can do it. So on this one, I did do heat embossing. You don't have to, you could stamp it. This festive foils paper is really, it's fun. It's very like shiny. But I did do heat embossing for the sentiment. So I did Versamark and I did gold to match the gold. You could use the red or the Evening Evergreen, I think is the 3rd sheet that you have. So this is the torn technique. This is a new technique that everyone's very excited about on the internet. It's all the rage. And I haven't done it before because I wasn't sure how to do it. And I was nervous I'm like, why am I nervous to tear a piece of white cardstock, right? You know, but it's really easy. I did glue it down. So when this goes into an envelope, like this might get mushed down a little bit, but it's not going to be too terrible. But I'll show you, I took some of the bulk out. So in your packet, you have a thick white card base, and then this is the standard basic white. And so what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to kind of hold down the left hand or the right hand side, and you're going to kind of like tear. And then you're going to kind of find another piece that's maybe 2/3 of the way. So I'd say, you know, if you're being super exact, maybe you've got 3/4 of an inch, maybe a little bit more, maybe, you know, 7/8 at the top. And then maybe, you know, and you can kind of decide what that looks like, but you're basically just going to tear away at this until you get to a point where you're happy. And then this piece, you're going to roll up and you're going to make into a roll. What I found was helpful was to get my bone folder and kind of take this and break down the fibers a little bit to make it a little easier to roll. So then once I've done that, then I can take this and I can roll it. And let's say it rolls and it rolls nice and flat. That's great. Mine did not roll super flat when I made my first one. See, and I went a little bit farther on my first one too. And so you might have seen this technique with like some of the Horizon DSP or some of the cool scenery pieces. So I still didn't like how bulky this was. Like, I just felt like this piece was really bulky. So I just came in with my scissors and I just cut like half of it off. And then I was able to get a little bit of a better roll here. And then I used a couple of glue dots under here to keep this roll down. So I was able to get a couple of glue dots. And I'm going to use my spatula for this. Ooh. So I'm going to kind of roll it nice and tight. And then I'm going to stick a glue dot underneath it. And I used 2 glue dots on mine. There. And each one of them is going to look different, right? And each one's going to have a little bit of a different rip and curve. And that's a-okay. And then you don't have to put a whole bunch of this paper behind here. You only need to put, you know, as much as you can see. So that's why in the directions, I think I tell you to use like maybe a 2x3. I don't remember what size I said, maybe 2.5. But you can eyeball it as well. I mean, whatever you. Let's see, what did I tell you? How much paper did I tell you to use? I think I said, yeah, like a 2.5 by 3.5 size piece. So, and then you'll just glue that, you know, right behind here and tuck it behind. And then you can decide kind of how you want to do the sentiment. I forgot to use my embossing buddy. So my embossing looks pretty terrible up close, but that's okay. And then I used a couple of the little Poppy Parade sequins to be the berries on this one. And I added a little bit of green, but again, you can do whatever you want.
Cool. I'm glad you explained it. I'd seen it, but I hadn't tried this technique.
I know, I hadn't either. And I was like, I'm like, what am I so scared of? Like, we're just tearing, like, it's like, I don't know, like, why haven't I tried this? You know, like, and then I didn't watch a video because I was like, it can't be that hard. And then I did it. And I was like, yeah, okay, this isn't so hard. I can manage this. So, and it's a cool way to kind of show a little bit of paper. And I don't feel like, I mean, it still fits in the envelope. I would definitely put a butterfly stamp on this one. Like I would put a hand cancel on this one, but I mean, it, you know, it fits in here. So the stamp I use when I don't want them to mess up my cards is this one. So this stamp is a little bit extra but it's a non-machinable surcharge is what it says on there. And what it means is that they have to hand cancel your card. They can't run it through the machine. And so what's nice is that I think it's like 79 cents, maybe it's 82 cents now. So it's not much more than a standard stamp. But I use it on my cards that I don't want to get really messed up. And this would be one that I think I probably wouldn't want to go through the machine, so, because it is going to stick up a little bit, but I always have some of those butterfly stamps on hand. So thoughts?
This was great. Thanks.
Awesome. I'm so glad.
I think I really have to do is to color. Yes.
Oh, good. Well, that's awesome. Yeah, these are fun. These are not, difficult projects, but hopefully, you guys enjoy them. And for those of you watching the recording later, we appreciate you. We missed you. I know that everybody has had lots of things going on. I know this summer has been full of travels and whatnot. But Lynn, which one was your favorite card? I always like to know.
Oh, let's see.
Which pretty thing do you like the best?
I don't know.
Oh, what about you, Carol? What's your favorite?
They were all great.
Yeah, the poinsettia with the corners. I think it's really cool. And this was definitely an original. I always like it when I have a good original design, and that was an original. And I like the corners. I think it's fun
to make use of the punch. So
yeah, I know. And I just think that no one would expect this. Like, I think they'll get it and they'll be like, whoa, you made this? Like, I think this is like, it's super easy, but yet it looks super fancy. So yeah, I think that's, I'm definitely leaning towards that one. Although there's definitely a few others that I like a lot. So, well, thanks y'all. I'm going to end the recording. Let me stop that. I'll post this.